Lesson 31. Travel. Hello and welcome to this lesson. Today, we are going to talk about travel, the different kinds of transport, the vocabulary we use for journeys, and some useful expressions. Whether you are traveling for business or pleasure, this vocabulary will help you discuss your experiences with confidence. So, let us get started. Basic vocabulary for different kinds of travel. First, let us look at some basic vocabulary for different modes of transport. For road travel, we have vehicles like cars, buses, coaches, trams, vans, and lorries. The parts of a car include the boot, the storage space at the back, and the steering wheel, which you use to control the direction. People working with road transport include the driver, motorist, mechanic, who repairs vehicles, and chauffeur, a driver employed to drive someone else. Associated words include petrol station, breakdown, when the vehicle stops working, and breakdown service. For rail travel, we have high-speed trains and expresses. Parts of a train include the sleeping car, with beds, the buffet, where you can buy food, and coach, a carriage. People working on trains include the ticket collector and the conductor. Associated words include platform, where you wait for the train, and seat reservation. For sea travel, we have liners, ferries, and yachts. Parts of a ship include the deck, the floor, the bridge, where the captain controls the ship, and the gangway, the ramp for getting on and off. People include the captain and stewards or stewardesses. Associated words include port, cabin, a room on a ship, and cruise. For air travel, we have aircraft, jumbo jets, and helicopters. Parts of a plane include the cockpit, where the pilot sits, the wings, and the aisle, the passage between seats. People include ground staff, cabin crew, and air traffic controllers. Associated words include duty-free shop, terminal, the airport building, runway, where planes take off and land, and security. Journey, trip, travel, voyage. Now let us clarify some key words. A trip is usually shorter than a journey. For example, we had a long journey by coach from the north to the south of the country. We say business trip, not business journey. We took a trip or went on a trip to the beach last weekend. Note that go on a trip suggests an organized short excursion, while take a trip or have a trip could be something you do yourselves in your own car. Travel is a general, uncountable noun and also a verb. For example, travel broadens the mind. Or, how did you travel around Australia? We hitchhiked. A voyage is a long journey, usually by sea, though this use is quite formal. It is often used in other contexts with discovery. For example, learning English is a voyage of discovery. Collocations and expressions connected with travel. Now, let us listen to two travelers describing their experiences and note the useful expressions. Elena says, "My flight from New York to Tokyo was severely delayed, meaning delayed for a very long time, because of bad weather. Later, it was canceled, and she was stuck at the airport, unable to move from there. The airline put her up in a hotel overnight, they paid for her to stay, and they put her on standby for the early morning flight, meaning they promised her a seat if one became available. Luckily, she managed to get a seat, and the flight left on time, punctually, at 7 a.m. There was quite a lot of turbulence during the flight, strong, sudden movements while the plane was in the air, which was scary at times. When they finally got to Tokyo, the weather was bad, and they had a bumpy landing. They landed in a way that was not smooth. Luckily, Elena does not get airsick, feels sick because of the movement of the plane, but she had terrible jet lag, tiredness caused by moving quickly from one time zone to another, for days afterwards. Peter says, I had always wanted to sail across the Mediterranean, though I was worried I might get seasick. Anyway, I volunteered to work as a crew member on board a yacht, and it was an amazing experience. Everything ran very smoothly, even when the sea was rough, the opposite of a calm sea, and I never suffered from seasickness, or more informally, I never got seasick. Common mistakes to avoid. Before we finish, let us look at some common mistakes. We do not say a travel is an uncountable noun. For example, after we left the airport, we had a long journey by car, not a long travel. Also, remember we say on time when we mean punctually, not in time. For example, the train arrived on time and I picked her up at the station. So, on time means punctually, and time means with enough time to spare. So, that is our lesson on travel. These terms and expressions will help you talk about your journeys, whether by road, rail, sea, or air, with confidence.